Welcome to Fashion, Faith, and Flair, and today's faith message is Divine 9, Women in the Bible Who Made a Difference. And the woman I want to talk about today is Queen Vashti, better known as Queen Vashti. No, I'm just kidding. That is a nickname that I was having trouble pronouncing her name, and that's what kept coming to my mind, but it is Queen Vashti. Without Queen Vashti, we would have never had Queen Esther, who was another woman who made a huge impact in the Bible. So in Esther chapter 1, basically it starts out during the reign of King Xerxes. And in the third year of his reign, he gave a banquet for all his nobles and officials. And so it was a big deal. So he wanted to display his wealth. He did it for 180 days of showing off of how great his kingdom was. So he had a banquet for these important people, and wine was served in goblets of gold, each one different from the other, and the royal wine was abundant in keeping with the king's liberality. By the king's command, now this is important, and this is in verse 8, chapter 1. By the king's command, each guest was allowed to drink with, are you ready? No restrictions. For the king instructed all the wine stewards to serve each man as he wished. Now, while this big party was going on, Queen Vashti was entertaining the women of the kingdom. And so she had it in the royal palace as well. So on the seventh day, King Xerxes, he was high in spirits, translated drunk. And he commanded the 7 eunuchs, and I don't need to go through their names, to bring Queen Vashti wearing her royal crown in order to display her beauty to the people and the nobles, for she was lovely to look at. Okay, did you hear that? He wanted her to come, and let me fix this hat because it's bothering me. He wanted her to come so he could show her off. Now, as you know, back during this time, women had no agency and they were expected to do what they were told. Now, Queen Vashti refused to come. And I liken it to she had no intention of parading herself like a prized cow in a herd of drunken men. She refused. Well, that didn't go real well with the king. And so he consulted his, I'm going to call them lawyers, but I'm sure they weren't that. He wanted to find out what was he going to do to rectify that, because her conduct would be known to all the women, and they would despise their husbands and say King Xerxes commanded the Queen Vashti brought before him, and she would not come. So, it wasn't setting a good example for the people in the kingdom. So if the king's wife refused to come out, then what are the other wives of the kingdom going to do to their husband? And God forbid women had a voice to do what they needed to do, because they didn't. I mean, that's just reality. That's the way it was in the ancient world. So what they ended up coming up with was a royal decree. And it said, let it be written in the laws of Persia and Media, which cannot be repealed, that Vashti is never again to enter the presence of King Xerxes. And let the king give her royal position to someone else who is better than she. So basically, because of her bold move, they banished her. They banished her from the kingdom. So why I admire this woman is she lost it all because she stood up on principle. And that's not easy to do, because it's easy if you live in a life of luxury, I'm sure, to continue living in that life and going with the flow and not making changes. So I chose her because of her boldness, and because women had no agency in the ancient world. And I admire her for taking a stand and not wanting to be summoned and paraded around like a prize cow is how I liken it to. So what happened to her? She ended up being banished from the kingdom. I'm surprised she wasn't killed, because that probably would have been acceptable during that time period. But a search was on for a new queen, and that's how Esther came into the picture. So I chose Queen Vashti because she was bold, and she was not going to lower herself to do that. And because she did it, she paid a big price. The positive side, yes, we did end up with Queen Esther, and that'll be the focus of my next video, will be Queen Esther and her story. But I hope you enjoyed this. And you know a little more about Queen Vashti. No, I'm just kidding. Queen Vashti, because she is a woman who made a difference in the Bible. So I hope you have a fabulous, faith-filled day. Until next time, I'll see you.